Heaven is in My Heart, Part 3, a story from Genesis to Revelation, Chapter 2, Adam and Eve. God speaks to us through His inspired word, the Holy Bible. The Bible is not a single book. It's actually a collection of many books written by many authors through a span of several thousands of years. Christians believe that God chose specific people and inspired them to write down His words. The Catholic Bible has 46 books in the Old Testament and 27 books in the New Testament, which is 73 books in all. The Old Testament is composed of the books from before Christ, and the New Testament is composed of the books on the incarnation, life, passion, death, resurrection and ascension of Christ, and the life of the followers of Christ after He ascended to heaven. The first book of the Bible, Genesis, speaks of how God created everything, plants, animals, and people, beginning with our first parents, Adam and Eve. God made them beautiful, and everything was perfect in paradise. God made people in His own image and different from the animals in that we are able to think, choose, and love. Adam and Eve were made perfect. They could see and talk to God just as they could see and talk to each other. There was no sorrow, pain, suffering, or death. They could have lived forever with God like that if they did not distrust and disobey God. They were permitted to eat of all the trees and plants except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because eating from that tree would cause them to die. This command of God was for their own good. But the devil deceived Adam and Eve to mistrust God and to do the very thing God had asked them not to do. After they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that God had forbidden them to eat from, they lost access to paradise and access to the tree of life. The consequence of their disobedience was death, not only for Adam and Eve, but for all people who were born after them. With that one act of disobedience, sorrow, pain, suffering, and death entered mankind. Sin is a breaking away of the friendship and communion with God. It is like cutting off water supply to a plant and watching the plant wither and die eventually. Yet, unlike with the fallen angels, who had to make a one-time permanent choice whether or not to trust and serve God, with man, God was far more merciful. It is said that the angels were given a higher degree of knowledge of God when they were created, so their decision to reject God was a permanent choice, whereas for man, there was more leniency. And the reference for this is from The Unseen World by Reverend Father Alexis M. Lepisier, OSM. In God's tremendous mercy, He allows us unlimited number of chances to trust Him and amend our lives each time we fall into sin and break our friendship and relationship with God. These chances are given by God during the lifetime of a person, which only comes to an end with physical death. A person's relationship with God at the end of his life or her life on earth determines that person's final and eternal destination. Immediately after the fall of Adam and Eve, God proclaimed His plan of redemption for man. This plan to mend and heal the broken relationship between God and man would be brought about by the incarnation, life, passion, death, and resurrection of his only Son, Jesus Christ. According to the Bible, the blood of his only Son, Jesus Christ, is the healing balm that binds the broken bonds between man and God. Each time we break this bond through our sins of betrayal, his blood will reunite us with him if and when we return with contrite hearts. God's merciful plan was to save people from death and sin by taking on himself the suffering and the punishments due to the people, and to redeem us so we can once again see and talk to God just like how Adam and Eve did before they disobeyed. God chose a particular group of people from all the people of earth to bring about the incarnation of his Son, who would pay the price for our redemption from sin and death. Through his Son and through the revelation that his Son would make to us, we are able to know God. Once again, man can see the face of God through his Son and learn to trust him and love him wholeheartedly. Man is fortified against the deception of the devil forever, and through God's grace and his personal choice could be preserved from breaking his friendship with God.